Hello, good sir.
What's up, my friend? How are you today?
Doing good, man. You're sounding good. You're clear. You're sounding strong.
I've been doing a lot of voice training lately. I
Hi.
put I put a lot of money. This guru told me that I gave him a lot of money, and for me, that was about $150. Gave him $150, and he said he'd give me personal personal voice training, and we've been working out of his van. It's been really good, man. It's been really good. So thank you.
You've been working out of a van
Yeah,
down
he's got a van.
down by down by the river.
He's got a van. So and that was a selling point by the river because then I could fly fish.
Oh,
I could fly
gotcha.
fish before and after the classes. So like it was a win all around.
Is he a
So thank you for
dad?
acknowledging that. Hmm?
Is he a dad?
Yeah, he's gonna join the mastermind. So
Oh,
it was a yeah, it was a good relationship. It's been incredible. Thank you for noticing.
did he talk about any challenges in his life?
Yeah, man. Yeah, he talked about a lot of challenges and we just offer solutions. That's what we do. Just give solutions all day.
Words of wisdom.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
right.
hey, kind of being silly about this, but I had I'm a part of a few different men's groups, dads groups. There's some Facebook pages here in Colorado that are kind of just focused on being dads, and I'm always just trying to learn and hone my skill as a dad. I need a lot of work, so I'm always trying to search for good stuff. Well, I had posted I posted something in these groups, just asking men what challenges they're facing this year. What the question was, what's the number one challenge dads face this year in 2023? And I got a lot of responses. It was really interesting. Some of the responses that came in, I tried to kind of put them in, together in different areas. And so I thought it'd be just a really interesting conversation to kind of go through some of these, offer the challenge, and then David, because he's so wise, he is going to come up with a solution to the challenge, or at least some
And
thoughts on the challenge.
our listeners to this
They
episode just
just
went down to
dropped.
zero. Just went down
Pew.
to zero. It's
Yeah.
just you and me right now, buddy. Just you and
Okay.
me.
Hey, it's just you and me, man. Let's do it.
Hey, good conversation.
All right. Number one challenge. So not in any order, but answers to the question of the number one challenge dads face this year. First one is outside influences contrary to our own beliefs. What do you think about that?
Yeah, big challenge, man. Big challenge. And I have a couple thoughts. One, you don't want to have children that you shelter so much that they have no outside influences I think one of the big problems that kids face these days, especially when they go to schools and this whole cancel culture and feeling unsafe and all these different things, this vocabulary we're hearing, a lot of it is the result of being sheltered to the point that your thoughts and beliefs are not challenged. I think it's good. It's good for critical thinking, and it's good for you to become fortified in your beliefs or change your beliefs that are potentially misguided by having outside influences. But I understand the point of this comment, and it's more the the contradictory nature of what your kids are exposed to. And I would offer, and this is gonna be probably a common thing for a couple of these, but what are you doing about it? Right? There are going to be contrary beliefs and influences to you for their entire life. Period. So accept that. Step one. And it's not even their friends. It may be what they're watching on YouTube or whatever. Um, and so I think that one of the best you put your money where your mouth is, and it really determines how important this stuff is to you. And are you creating an environment in your house or wherever you are that is attracting your kids and their friends to you so that you can then also offer a positive influence, be present. And what I mean by that is, we were just talking about this, but I'm strongly considering putting a pool in our backyard exactly as that is a kid magnet, right? And to bring fun, to make our house a place where people want to be. And it's not so that my influence could be the one that is then, the predominant one over my kids and whoever else comes. That's not the point. It's just that they're present and they see in action what I do find important. And a lot of that has to do with presence. And right now, just being completely frank, so that, everybody else's excuses could go away. I don't have the money to put a pool in. I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't know where the finance is going to come from, but it's something that I'm strongly considering. And that once my wife and I decide, if we decide to do it, then we have to figure it out, because the priority of creating that environment is much more important than, and I'm not going to allow the finances to be the thing that gives me the excuse to say, I just can't do it. Just, go do your thing, kids. So the point is, I think if it's truly a priority that you're influencing your children, which happens through presence, being present and creating an environment where they want to be, then you're going to take actions that may be drastic and awesome, right? That sounds awesome. Have a pool, dude.
Yeah.
That's rad.
One addition to that is I think we need to create environments where our children are comfortable talking to us about differences, right? If they see something, hear something, experience something that's different than what we have taught in our home, to be able to come back and talk about it and be open about it, and as a parent not immediately like freaking out, right? If they saw something, did something, made a mistake, and being the parent that they feel comfortable coming to and talking to you about that, I think is really also very important.
A lot of that boils down to just intentionality of having conversations, right? It's just being willing to, and also having enough self-control to not be reactionary to everything your kid brings to you. Like, you did what? And you freak out. They're not going to want to come talk to you anymore.
Yeah.
Right. You can talk through it. And I think that's, I love your point. Be a safe place for your kids. And I want to be a safe place for my kids' friends too. I want my kids' friends to see us as accessible adults. That doesn't mean I want to be their friends' best friends. That's not it at all. I want to be a resource, a father, a man figure in their lives. And if they choose to use that, then I want to be available.
So I'm going to go to another challenge that's on a very, very similar range. One of the concerns that's posted is the challenges that your kids have friends that you don't approve of. What's your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I mean, again, that's going to happen, right? So I think you have to analyze these fears for what they are. And I think we have a responsibility as parents to say, okay, well, I don't know if my kid's running around with the right crowd. Okay, great. There's going to probably be a period when they do that. There's going to be certain friends. There's going to be certain influences. I mean, it happens at a young age, man. It already, I've heard parents talking about kindergartners, like, oh, that kid's just not a good. I'm like, oh, give me a break. He's a kindergartner. Like, what, there's still time to, what are you doing about it though? Right? Like, what are you actually doing about it? Are you actively talking to your kids about what's right and wrong? What your expectations are? Do you have expectations in the house? What are the rules? And are you bringing those other children? I mean, it's kindergarten, man. These are like cute little kids. Like, bring them into your house and have them abide by the rules, right? There's other opportunities that we have to influence and show our kids what right looks like. And who am I hanging out with? Who am I hanging out with? Am I hanging out? Are my kids seeing me?
Super
like my
rad
kids,
dude.
yeah, dude. I met this guy.
Stu.
I met this guy in Lakewood. He's awesome. No, that guy's a clown. But I mean, my kids now, and all joking aside, are conditioned to, oh, daddy, you're going to do a dude's day with Uncle Stewie, this week. Are you guys going to the mountains? Are you going snowboarding? Whatever it is. They're conditioned to it because they see it.
Yeah.
Because we live it, right? We live this idea of being very specific with and choosing who you hang out with and where you spend your time.
Yeah. That's good. All right. This was a big one. The challenge of electronics.
Hey, look, man, I don't think this is that big of a deal. From the perspective of, you can say no, right? Like, I see so much passivity around this, and we're going to talk about social media as well, but you can say no. And there are very practical things. Like, you don't have to get your kid the latest iPhone. You just don't have to do that. And kids are okay, right? My daughter knows that she has a phone that is vastly less expensive than a lot of her friends, and she doesn't care. She likes having a phone. She also knows that the phone is a pinwheel. So I'm giving you parents out there, pinwheel. Look it up. It's awesome. My daughter knows that every single aspect of her phone is controlled from an app on my phone. I have it right. I can pull it right up. She cannot add a contact to her phone without either me approving or putting in for her, Erica or I doing that for her. She can't download a single app without us approving it. And you know how much angst and how much anger that causes her? Zero.
Zero.
It just is what it is because that's what it is. We are the adults. We're the parents. We set the standard. We are doing, and we even made her, imagine this, we even made her save money to buy this phone. Well, do you think that was a good lesson? Yeah, that thing is getting taken care of. It's got a cover. It's got a screen protector. It's got all the things.
Yeah.
Because she had a phone and it broke. And so now she has to contribute, well over $100 to her new one. Dude, we have, as parents, you don't have to like just enable it, right? You don't have to say, oh, okay, yes. And it should not be your go-to default. I just don't want to deal with the kids. Here's a device. Go watch TV. No, man, like you had kids, you have a responsibility. Let's play with them. Let's spend our time. And actually, the best part about that, dude, it's actually really enjoyable.
Yeah.
I really like hanging out with my kids.
Here's you just hit on it. Social media. What are we doing with social media with our kids?
Again, man, like this is, and I don't want to downplay this or electronics. You can tell them no, there's things you can do to control it, but the honest truth is that there's so many ways around it and kids are going to find it. My kids are no different. They have been exposed to certain things at their friend's house. The one thing I can say that, again, it goes back to is be the person, be a resource that your kids can come talk to you about it. I've been thankful that in a couple of cases, my kids came and said, hey, this was on, this is what happened. And I engaged with their parents or whatever. But then my daughter the other day, to be quite frank, she was in a room, her friend brought her phone over and they were watching some YouTube stuff, YouTube shorts. And I'm like, Maya, and this is the language I use, Maya, and I use it in front of her friend. That kind of garbage is not allowed to be, you don't close your door. You don't do that. That's not what we do in this house. And I made it very clear to her friend. It was uncomfortable for her friend and her. I don't care. It's my house. But to be engaged to that level, right? And to address it and not let it go. And Erica stayed up the other night watching shows that Maya said she was watching. She stayed up for a couple hours and was watching them. And we determined that that is not something that is appropriate at this point. And so she's not going to watch it anymore. And she's fine with it. Right. I mean, it just is what it is. It's just being engaged, man, and being willing to do that. And, I'm not suggesting you spy on your kids, but like, it's okay to ask, hey, what are you looking at? Well, what is that? Have we talked about that? And I've not done it yet, but I'm going to do it. We're going to implement a phone box in our house for all of us, right? You come in the house, we're coming on a play date. We're coming to hang out. Phone goes in the box. Everybody's phone goes in the box. It's just like you taking the car keys from all the kids because they might have that later age if they're going to drink or whatever. It's the same thing, man. Like it's poisoning their minds, dude. It's, and it's uncontrolled and we as adults can't control it. So how do I expect my kids to be able to be mature enough to be like, I'm not unrealistic. I know, and I challenged my kids and I told them, you should be the leader that says, I'm not watching this. Well, okay. Like that's very idealistic and I love it. And I would love for my kids to do that. That's in their head because I say it enough, but I mean, come on, I understand peer pressure. So you just have to deal with it, man, but you have to be engaged.
Yeah. One of the other challenges that people, and it's, all similar. One was just the internet in general. I think same rules, same comments apply. One thing I'll add that I think was really cool. I was talking to our friend Michael. He is a part of the Storehouse Mastermind, and they have they're going through a challenge in 2023 to spend 1,000 hours outside. Like the goal is to spend 1,000 hours outside this year, and that equates to like 2.6 hours a day. And so like that in itself, if you're really trying to reach 1,000 hours of outside time, like you're gonna get rid of a lot of those opportunities for electronics and social media and internet just by going outside and playing with your kids and taking on that challenge. So something to think about.
Yeah, man. And it's not easy, right? None of this is
No.
easy. My son, before I left the house, Noah was being a little turd, and he struck out. He struck out for the day, and now he went to school knowing that he has no Nintendo whatever time, and his siblings do. You have to stick with that, man. Is it going to be easy? Do they cry? Yeah, all that stuff. But I mean, it is what it is. Like, he made some choices. They're very easy choices. He struck out. We're consistent. He's not going to get Nintendo time today, and he's going to be very upset. But here's the crazy thing, dude. He's going to be upset for like 5 minutes because this has happened before, because he just makes bad choices. He needs to act his age. He's 6 and he's making bad choices. But we'll probably put a puzzle together, or I'll read him a book, or I'll do something, and it'll pass. But at the end of the day, I think I see it, all this counting parents, right? I'm going to count to 3, 1, 2, 2.5, 2 3/4. I mean, all this, we do it too. Yeah. I do not want to be there. Like, you've made a bad choice. Here's the accountability. It might be tough, whatever. You press forward. And I think that with the internet, so for example, I told you not to look at this. There's things we can do. I monitor my kids' internet use. You look at what they looked at. I told you not to do this. We talked about this, right? Okay, now you lost the privilege to do this for a week, and stick with it. And maybe that detox will be good for them too. Like, why are they? I think we don't ask the right questions. Why are they going behind my back doing these things?
Yeah.
That's the real question. It's not what you did on the internet. Yeah, it's a symptom. Why do you continue to make these decisions and do this stuff behind my back? Is it your friends? Is it something else? What is it? And then you can hopefully get to the root to something meaningful.
Good stuff. All right. Let's see. One of the other ones that was a big one was not letting our kids fail enough. I know you have some comments on that one.
Yeah, man. We just did we recorded an episode on this and in my case, it was unintentional. I wish it wasn't, but it was unintentional to take Noah down to Black Diamond. But again, I think it's just there's a question that has been life-changing to me. Am I benefiting my child, who I love, and I think I'm doing these things out of love? Am I benefiting them in not allowing them to fail? Or am I creating somebody who is going to be less resilient and has less tools in adulthood? And answer that question for yourself.
Yeah.
Right. And I talked to Mom the other day, and she's talking about all the things she doesn't let her kid do. And I said, okay, here's a question for you just to consider. Everything you just said that you're nervous about, did you do any of those things as a kid? She did. I did all of those things. I'm like, well, okay, wait, say that again. I did all of those things. And how did you turn out? How did that make you feel? What were the benefits? And she, we got to, it was a really cool conversation, because she's like, I know. I'm struggling with these things, whatever. But that's a different issue. Unless you have the conversation or honest, you can't get to the root of why you're not allowing your kids to do whatever you're allowing them to do. And are you making a better human being as a result? The answer usually is no.
Yeah. 2 books that come to mind that we've talked about on the podcast: Free Range Kids by Lenore Skenazy and Coddling of the American Mind. Both come to mind when we're talking about this topic. Go read them.
Books.
All right. This one I thought was interesting. The comment was too much work. I don't have enough time for my family.
And look, man, and I want to be clear. I don't think we have the answers. What I do know is that we have been extremely passionate about being very intentional. And the growth that's happened for both of us through the mastermind and everything that we're doing has been significant. And one of the biggest life-changing things for me recently is 100% ownership and stop making excuses. The whole podcast about the cockroaches was hugely impactful for me.
Yeah.
And it just boils down to being honest. just be honest with yourself and stop lying to yourself. And I'm not, again, it sounds opinionated, and I'm not trying to be opinionated. I'm just trying to be honest. If you're saying that you have too much work and not enough family time, the root of that are decisions you're making, period.
Yeah.
And
All
just own them.
self-inflicted.
All self-inflicted. Don't just own it and be honest with yourself. And if you have too much work and not enough family time, your priority is work. And I'm okay with that. It's your life. I'm not okay or not okay with it. I personally don't care. Just don't lie about it. And be honest with yourself, and just acknowledge that work is more important to you than your family. Period. If you're spending money and time, where you spend your money or time is your priorities. That's all there is to it. And you cannot honestly argue. If you're friends with people who are enablers, you can make that argument. If you're friends with people who are going to hold you accountable and hold you to the things that you say are important to you, they're going to tell you, hey, too much work is a decision. Is someone have a gun to your head saying that you have to do all this work? No, you're making a choice. Well, what if I lose my job? Okay, what if you lose your job? What if you lose your family? Have you asked that question? That's the
Probably
more
more
important
expensive
question.
than losing your job.
More expensive, more painful, so much regret, unless work is your priority. And then, hey, if you lose your family, you have more time to do work, which is your priority anyway. So,
All right, here's an interesting one. The challenge of keeping my kids safe from things out of our control. Example, school shootings, car accidents.
So this is very real. And, there's been 3 mass shootings in California just this week. There's all this gun violence. There are all these things. I mean, shoot, the other day, we were getting notifications of shelter in place on the bus route, my kid's bus route, because there was a domestic incident and they shut down the street, cops everywhere. And so this is all real stuff. But answer me this: when is the last thing you controlled something out of your control?
Never.
And when's the last time you worrying about something stopped something from happening?
Never.
And that list is not just shootings and car accidents. It's cancer and COVID and, any number of things that you can't control. So why spend the capacity to allow all that stuff to keep you in a funk and fear? Living in life of fear, man, it's not a fun place to be. And you'll never live up to your potential when you're constantly worrying about everything that could happen. There's a lot of things that could happen, and more often than not, those things don't happen. I mean, if we're honest, they don't happen, right?
Yeah. Yeah, man.
And dude, even if it does happen, Erica and I flipped on a freeway. The car was upside down and was sliding down the freeway. And by the pure grace of God, the weight of the trailer that we were towing turned the car around and dragged it off the side of the road. Mm. The worst thing that happened, because I always wear flip-flops, I had a piece of glass like a tiny piece of glass in my heel, like getting out from all the broken glass. There are a million things that could have happened in that incident that would have ultimately, if the car wouldn't have slid off the road, the semi would have hit there's so many things that could have happened and would have happened and whatever. They didn't. And I had no control over it, any of it. And it didn't happen, right? I'm not going to dwell on it. I thank God, I'm a spiritual guy, so I thank God that it turned out the way it did. But again, what control did I have over any of that? None.
Yep. God has a plan, and if you trust him, I think it'll be all right. All right.
What options do you have, right? What options do you have? You
can
worry yourself to a heart attack. And that's the other thing. You can worry so much that you give yourself a heart attack. And I guess that's the end result was the same. I don't know. Yeah. It's a tough one, but man, that worry just steals so much joy.
All right. I know this one will bring you some thoughts here. A challenge dads face is my own health.
Yeah. Concur, man. Concur. Join the mastermind and we'll help you to see the power of a why, and why when you start tying things to more important than I just want to lose 10 pounds, man, it's amazing the changes that can happen in your life. And it's it's this challenge that I have, dude. It's a huge struggle. And so it's really trying to figure out, you know, is it important? I think is really the key, man. I keep going back to that life changing question. Is it truly important? And if you've been trying to lose 10 pounds for 10 years, I would say that you're probably happy with those 10 pounds.
Yeah, there's two big whys that I've heard from people that I thought were just amazing. One, we've talked about a lot in the mastermind is, I want to walk my daughter down the aisle when she gets married. Like that's a pretty good reason to be healthy,
Yeah,
right?
that's a good reason.
Another one I heard is I want to be able to get down on the floor and play with my grandchildren when I'm older. Also, a very good reason for wanting to be healthy. So I think if you
Great
put
reason.
a real strong why to that, you're gonna find a way to be healthy. You're gonna find a way to have some purpose to make that a priority.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
All right, let's see. I think this is number 10 here. Last one, holding them accountable to their actions. I.e., as a dad, holding your kids accountable to their actions.
I would just say why. Why is that a challenge? It's just kind of, in my mind, it's a do or don't, right? You either do it or you don't. And I think a lot of us are afraid for our own reasons to hold our kids accountable, whether it's going to be an additional burden for us because you took their device away and now you feel like you have to entertain them. Um, or you're afraid you're going to lose your relationship and they're not going to be your best friend. I think everybody has their own reasons. And I think you just have to assess that, right? Like, why are you afraid to hold your kids accountable? And again, I go back to this question we talked about before. When you fail to hold your kids accountable to their actions, what kind of human being are you creating? And if you picture an adult who doesn't feel like they have to be accountable to anybody for their actions, a grown, spoiled child, what kind of person is that? Is that the kind of person that you like enjoy hanging out with? Is that the kind of person you want your kid to be? Because you have the ability to impact that to a certain extent. So I just think I think it's a barrier for people for different reasons, and I don't think it has to be, man. Like you do something, there's a consequence. What better place to learn that in the safety of your own home, right?
Yeah, I agree.
It's a lot
I
better
agree.
than getting fired when you're older and now you don't have a job and can't make your car note and can't pay for your mortgage and all these things because you've never been held accountable. Like that's a terrible time to learn that lesson. I'd rather, take my kid's device away. And if you do that and you hold them accountable, there's also, when they start saying I'm bored, I just try. I've been doing this lately. It's very liberating. I love it. My kids come up, drives me nuts. Dad, I'm bored. And my response has lately been, I don't care. Awesome. Like, I am not
What are you gonna do
here for
about
your
it?
entertainment. Like, I'm not here for your entertainment. There's books, you have a ton of toys, there's a trampoline, and then there's outside. And your friends are actually down the street. Like, dude, I just don't. And I genuinely, in my heart, and not in a bad way, I genuinely do not care if my kid is bored. Like, I have zero emotion toward it. And it's so liberating because I just don't care. I don't care.
I responded to that exact same thing the other day. I said, "Good. It's good to be bored." And my
Yeah.
and my child was like, "Huh? Good?
What? Yeah,
What?"
go be creative. Go be creative. And I'll tell you, it's pretty quick, dude. Like my kids shock me. They amaze me when I'm like, I don't care. I'm doing something like I just don't like, I don't care that you're bored. And like so quickly they start creating. It's awesome. They start creating stuff, whether it's like Legos or drawing. It's really, really cool to observe. It's a huge positive. It's not a negative
Yeah.
to not care. Like it genuinely is like, I marvel in their creativity and it's a beautiful thing. And so I would just not only just don't care, but I would highlight it as a course of action because it's brought me a lot of joy to see what my kids do with their boredom. Like, in all honesty, it's been,
Yeah.
they do some of their best drawings and Lego work and all that stuff. It's really cool.
Yeah, that's cool. Hey, this is an interesting list. I thought asking that question on these groups was I knew I was going to get some interesting answers, and you know, yeah, we have lots of challenges, right? And I'm not discounting that these are real challenges, but I think there are solutions, and I think that just changing our mindset towards a lot of these things, like with all of your answers, David, they're all spot on. And I think if there's any takeaway from this, um, being a dad is really, really, really important.
Man, really important. And it's hard, dude.
It's
Like,
hard.
I don't think I have answers for me because I know it's important in my family and what I want my family to look like. Is that 100% success? No, dude. A, I fail way more than I succeed.
Yeah.
Just ask my kids. I fail way more than I succeed. But what I love that you did this because I think the the mindset of just asking the questions is a hugely beneficial growth mindset way to approach everything, to include our most important job, being dads. And that's what I love about this. And it forces you to be intentional to answer them for yourselves. And then you can talk to a buddy. We talk about parenting all the time. Hey, what are you
Yeah.
doing about this? Like, my kid is being a terrible human being. Like, what do you do about it? And sometimes the answer is, dude, they're just terrible human beings. I can at least relate with and commiserate with you, and we can do this together, right? Like, sometimes that's the answer because we don't have the answers all the time. But what I can tell you is doing something is vastly more impactful and powerful than just leaving it to chance. 100% of the time, doing
Yeah, man.
something, even if what you do is not the best. At least if you do something and you're like, oh man, I made a mistake. Well, now you know you made a mistake. You wouldn't have known if you didn't try something. So I think that there's so much power in that, dude. But just do something about it, right? Just
Yeah.
do something. Be prepared. Have an answer at your fingertips. Try something. Your kids will appreciate it.
Yeah, man. And if anyone listen here like doesn't have a group of men, or doesn't have people that they can reach out to and have these type of conversations, we would be thrilled for you to come be a part of our group. Come be a part of the Storehouse Mastermind. We're having these type of conversations. We're having these hard conversations of like, I don't know what to do. Guys, help me. And we're being real. We're being vulnerable. We're coming up with solutions and answers to these type of questions. So reach out. You can go to storehouse310.com /mastermind. And we'd love to, be a part of helping you through this journey to be a hero, to be the best dad you could possibly be, the best husband you could possibly be, and the best friend you could possibly be. So let's do it together.
Yeah, man. Super exciting. Pumped for tomorrow. Our first gathering, building this community out here locally in Colorado. You'll see that on Meetup. We'll start putting stuff like that out, opportunities for guys to get together and just to do this kind of stuff, right?
Yep.
Just to do this kind of stuff, be with other men and have real conversations. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be amazing. There's going to be some tears, some laughter. There's going to be some hugs. There's going to be all kinds of stuff. It's going to be amazing.
Hey, great plug also there. We have a space on meetup.com. If you search for Kinetic Men of Storehouse 310, that should come up. We've put some events out, all local to Colorado, minus some webinars. We are doing the monthly webinars. We're talking about topics on kinetic living. So check it out. And most important, go fill that storehouse, yo.
Yo.
See ya.
See